right, welcome back everyone to the channel. Today it's more Duel Commander in preparation for this weekend's MTGO Creator Showdown. As I talked about previously, I am very thankful that I will be doing the casting alongside Will Hall. And yeah, I need to prepare a little bit. So what do we have here? I think this is going to be a fan favorite of various creators at the Showdown. So I think it's important to showcase this deck. I'm, of course, talking about Aragorn, King of Gondor. So I don't know anything about Lord of the Rings. I just assume this guy's an important character from there. And yeah, he's also a good commander, mainly because the colors that he's, offering up, the Jeskai color combination is like the classic, back in the day, you would call it like an aggro control. You can call it tempo. You can call it whatever you want. But yeah, this deck is definitely trying to do a little bit of everything. And I'll get into that later. So first of all, Aragorn is a 4-drop. When it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. We all know why that is good. You draw an extra card at the beginning of each at the beginning of each instep, I guess. That is very important to hang on to because it can also backfire. So that's why we're playing it in a creature deck instead of playing it in a control deck, which I like a lot. So the vigilance helps, the lifelink helps, and if you're the monarch, creatures can't block, so it's like just like a snowball thing here, and even you can even get back the monarch because one creature can't block if you're not the monarch. So pretty cool commander. It is 4 mana, which is a lot. So let's get into what this deck is trying to do in the meantime. So turn 1, we don't have that many creatures, but we do have a small handful. We're playing all the cheap interaction, as you will notice, is a theme across the format. We play all the 2 mana counters. Then we play some more removal and some more cheap creatures. New additions like Philia, Ajani, Ocelot Pride. In the 3-drop slot, we try and have more interaction and only the best 3-drops available. One of the worst things that can happen in Duel Commander is you simply are too clunky, you get run over. So that's why I even cut a lot of like 4-drops in the deck. I basically only have Parallax Wave as a 4-drop in the deck. You could play stuff like, I don't know, Palace Jailer, Pyrogoyf, etc. But I will say, whenever there's a card that costs the same as your commander, you just have to think about why you would play it and why you would not play it. Murktide Region will finish out the deck, top of the curve. So yeah, you can expect some grindy games here for sure. And I'm trying to not get run over by aggro, and I'm trying to, get a little bit under control, and I'm trying to disrupt combo while keeping up the clock. So yeah, I'm super excited to play this deck, and I hope you are as well. All right, guys, quick message here. If you want to have access to my deck guides, my strategy articles, whether you want to pitch me a sweet deck to play on the channel, whether you want to look into coaching, or simply just want to say thank you for the content I put out, please check out my Patreon below and become a Baron today. Now, let's get back to the games. All right, round 1, I'm playing against Animatu, a nice Esper Planeswalker, which will play some, I don't know, Miracles or Reanimator, as was the case last time. So let's see. Turn 1, Careful Study. Okay, I might have my work cut out for me here. Losing the die roll doesn't look like that's gonna do me any favors. Okay, my opponent putting 2 big creatures into the graveyard. Let's see, Tivit and the Lord of Change. Mystic Gate, not a good draw. I guess I play the Sculling Turn out so I can go Desperation Brainstorm in case of emergency. Animate Dead, Exhume, Dance of the Dead. Lots of annoying cards here. Lots of annoying cards. If that does not happen, I like my chances, but I think we have some stuff to worry about here. Let's see what my opponent has in store. Swamp getting fetched, and persist on the draw 3. Draw 3 creature it is. Ward 3. All right. Let's go for a Volcanic Island and cast Desperation Brainstorm. Oh. Okay, so that is a 6/6 that draws 3 cards. I'll have to put 2 cards back. Wow, this is atrocious. Then next turn I don't do anything. Then I develop this. I dig further. Okay. That is a great start for the opponent. So let's play Glacial Fortress, pass. And next turn I can play untapped Deserted Beach. I mean, I'm doing well in that, land development department, but I'm not doing well when it comes to winning the game. My opponent with the refill and a 5/5 that is very hard to target. I'm going to say this is almost unthinkable that I win this game. But let's play it out for content. That's fine. Opponent thought about doing something. They didn't. I cast Malcolm end of turn. Then I draw the land that I know about, and then I'm hoping for Malcolm to deliver a miracle. I love that this Animatsu Reanimator deck seems... Wow, okay. Well, Ashen Rider getting rid of 2 lands. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so that seemed like we were not playing the same format here, which is never a good thing. Got really, really destroyed here by Esper Reanimator. All right. Let's keep this hand and hope nothing broken happens. Thankfully, that deck is not able to do that all the time. Then that deck would be amazing. So we kind of have to stay level-headed here and believe in the process. So let's see. Maybe fetch Tundra turn 1 should be fine. Tundra, Giver, pass. Turn 1, Careful Study. Turn 2, Persist. Turn 3, Flash, Ashen Rider. The dream. The dream, the dream. I wonder what the dream is for me here. It's probably something like drawing like Force of Will, Force of Negation, so I can actually tap out for Aragorn and pull ahead in the mid-game. Plowing the Giver. I don't mind that at all. So let's see. I think it's fine. Then I go grab a Thundering, whatever it's called, Surveil Land end of turn. I don't really feel like bone crushing my opponent. Mainly because I feel like turn 3, I'm going to hold up the Tidebinder anyway. I'm not going to hold up, cast the Crusher rather. So I just don't value the 2 damage compared to digging for Disruption. So that will make my Bone Crusher a little bit more clunky later on, but hopefully that's all right. Let's see. Thundering Falls. Rainstorm, probably better than the average draw. Then I can dig for a 2-mana counter in case I need it. If nothing happens, I can develop my 3/2. If there's anything to stifle, I'll happily do that. Faithful Mending, draw 2, discard 2. I'm going to accept that. I need to take a look at that Esper Reanimator deck. It looks super cool. It all depends on if there's a, critical mass for, good enough creatures, good enough ways to get rid of those creatures. Okay, so my opponent does not have a big creature here. Discarding some good cards. I mean, my opponent's hand must be awesome. If you discard Collective Brutality and Necromancy, your hand must be amazing. Maybe this is just where we bite on the Tidebinder. It's not amazing. It's not like countering a fetch, but it's not nothing either, and we hopefully get a little bit of action going here. Let's see if we can draw interaction, or we just slam Aragorn and hope for the best. Draw. That is not interaction. That is a tap land. I will try and slam my Commander. Let's see if that is any good. Aragorn resolves. Don't flash me, bro. Don't flash me, bro. I guess we're not getting flashed because my opponent let me draw that card. Opponent develops 4th land. Also, did not have 3 mana, so couldn't flashback Faithful Mending. Don't do it. Don't do it to me, bro. Acceptable. Okay, so, I mean, if we're playing a fair game like this, I'm not too scared. Then I think I'll be fine. Opponent bounces my Aragorn. Now I have both combat damage and the Bone Crusher Giant to kill Teferi, which is good. Let's see what we draw. Snapcaster Mage is a good one. Let's kill the Teferi and then think about life. Snapcaster Brainstorm could be useful. And I think I want to do it now because of stuff like Orcish Bowmasters and Hull Breacher. So now actually I'm just thinking, am I supposed to go draw the card with the Monarch, then Brainstorm? Probably so. What does that mean for me right now? It means I go play that, draw, then Brainstorm. Nice draw. Okay, some super sick draws here. So I get rid of land. That's totally fine. Okay. Now I have the Fairy Mastermind in case my opponent does nothing. I have interaction if they do something. So great place to be. I'm glad I caught myself with the Brainstorm, like digging one card deeper. That could be the difference between finding a counter and not finding a counter, and that will, you know, could make or break this game. Right now, I'm happy with any exchange. I have the Monarch. I have some chip damage going on. I'm trying to kill my opponent here. Let's see. Main phase, Faithful Mending. So what I could do was get value from Mastermind, but I don't think that's how I play. I think it's better for me to go get rid of it entirely here because it's a flashback card, so it gets exiled here. My opponent wants to spend that mana, you know, to counter back here. I'm totally fine. It's a bit of a weird rule that if you memory lapse, a flashback card it still goes to exile, but I think it has to do with the whole put it on top of a library instead of the graveyard, but not put on top of a library instead of, you know, exile. So let's say it was just the remand, I think is the same thing. Unsure if Reprieve works like that. Maybe Reprieve puts it into hand. I'm not sure. Please let me know. I'm not a judge. Okay, my opponent with what I would call a desperation brainstorm, not an ideally timed brainstorm at least. So now I'm getting in for 5-13. Okay, so this game is gonna drag on for a bit. Not a lot, but a bit. So attack. I feel like I should just pull up all my mana here. The fact that I have the Fairy Mastermind, by the way, huge shout out to Yuta Takahashi, world champion in 2022. Play out the mountain. If I had like optimal foresight, I think I would have played out this one because then I want to go Mana Leak plus 4 Spike plus Fairy Macabre. So yeah, I think maybe playing out the Spiral there was the Canal Spiral Bluff Canal was better. Let's see. Let's see how much soft counters my opponent is willing to respect here. If my opponent goes Animatsu, I probably leak and spike it, even though it's not perfect. Oh, Spellseeker. That's kind of like the same thing. Let's go Mana Leak. Then let's go 4 Spike. Then let's play Fairy Mastermind. Looks like my opponent is looking to find something like a Flash. Also, Spellseeker can go and get Unmarked Grave, which is kind of cool. Fairy Mastermind, take the turn. Miscalculation is maybe a good draw, who knows? So attack with those boys. I feel like I'm still passing because I have Miscalculation and I have Bone Crusher. So let's say I draw some Burr and I can finish off my opponent. Phoenix is not quite that card. So now all the pressure is on my opponent to come up with an amazing turn that beats miscalculation. Very possible, I will say that. 7 mana. Hardcast Big Boy. Okay, Dance of the Dead. I don't like this. Looks like I am getting flashed. And then my opponent needs a creature that deals with the board in a way that Bonecrusher Giant is not lethal, and Detective's Phoenix. Oh, Unmarked Grave. Okay. So my opponent looking to go tutor for the Poor Man's Entomb, and then try and reanimate it, and then the miscalculation will be live. So pretty excited about that one. I assume my opponent goes and gets Archon of Cruelty. Let's see. Archon killing my flyer, gaining life. Yeah, that's definitely the best creature in the format. Well, who knows? Let's see. Maybe there's something like the card that crushed me last time. I can't remember the name. Oh, Astral Dragon. That card had a lot of text on it, and it was very complicated for me to read. My opponent's thinking about it. To be fair, my opponent has a lot of options here. Looking through a 79 card deck. So I guess my opponent's card in hand is not Animate. Well, it's probably Animate Dead or Exhume, because Necromancy's gone, Reanimate doesn't work. It was Persist, looking to sweep the board with a Magister. So pretty excited about this miscalculation, not gonna lie. Looks like we're forcing game 3 here. All right, so we managed to get, first of all, my opponent did not have like the perfect draw. Second of all, I got to deploy some pressure to the board, even become the Monarch, while not, just simply dying. And then the chip damage added up in the end, and that was kind of cool. I like this hand a lot. 3 counters that are pretty likely to all, connect. And then I play my Aragorn and hope for the best. Let's see. If my opponent plays a good 2-drop, which answer am I countering with? I think I'm supposed to go Spell Snare, because Force Spike is also going to be live against, my opponent tapping out turn 4, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna Spell Snare if my opponent plays a relevant 2-drop. That card is, not that great to counter, to be honest. Let's see. But the thing is, it can always reanimate, but I can't do anything about the Unearth later, so very annoying card if the game goes longer. Now we can just play the Command Tower and not give up any information. Let's say I had to shock myself, that would be kind of bad. Let's say I play out the Otawara, then I don't have it for later. Let's say I play the Fetch, then maybe I lose out on a Surveil. So playing Command Tower here is just solid magic, Okay, let's see. Impending 4. When it enters or attacks, you draw 2, discard 1. Okay, so I don't think I can allow that. That's kind of a good enabler, and will come back later. So which card do I kill it with? This could be a case for force. I mean, you can make a case for all 3, so let's try and go through it. Loose Focus is a card that potentially is better than Mana Leak later if I have more mana available. Yeah, so I don't think I want to go Loose Focus. I want to go either Leak or Spike. I'm going to go Force Spike here, but it's a tough one. Mainly for the reason that if my opponent goes land and Imatu next turn, then I want all my stuff to be live. Portable Hole is most likely one of the worst cards against my opponent's deck. Should I go Surveil? Yeah, let's go set up for Surveil here. So basically, I'm trying to say no to all my opponent's enablers with the objective of landing the Aragorn and then kind of winning the game similarly to last game. But it's complicated. Here's Duress. I'm gonna let that resolve. My opponent's gonna see the, I don't know. I guess it's kind of bad news, but my opponent can also plan around this. If my opponent does not do anything, I cannot play my Aragorn. Well, I can, but then I'm shields down. So this information is huge for the opponent, even though at the surface it looks like, you know, that, look at me, I have 2 counters. So yeah, well played by my opponent passing the turn here. I like that a lot. Looks like my opponent's playing something into the loose focus. It's basically saying, I'm going to have to do that eventually, so why not now? Let's see. My opponent thinks better of it. And unless I draw some flash creature, I'm going to play my Aragorn. I don't think I can wait around here. I don't think the draw go benefits me. That's oftentimes what you have to ask yourself. Is draw go good for me or is draw go bad for me? And that, of course, there's more than one truth to that, but my evaluation here is that it's bad for me. All right, so my opponent wants to go Buried Alive, and I don't want that. So now I can basically say, do I want to replicate it to ensure it resolves? Or do I want to, you know, say, hey, buddy, you don't have Force of Will blue card exactly, so I'll be fine here. And I'm going to go for that option. Loose focus, when you replicate it, is a way to play around, you know, counter magic backup. With that being said, let's go for a nice Thundering Falls. Look at the top card, Mother of Runes. I don't think is good enough because I'm going to tap out next turn. So that card loses a lot of value. So now I draw Glacial Fortress, so I can play that, save the life, or I can play Sacred Foundry and, you know, conceal the info. I'm just going to save the life here. I don't really want to overthink it. Landing the Aragorn is awesome here, and now it's kind of up to my opponent to do something broken here, which is very possible, unfortunately. Now my opponent has 5 lands and a priest in the graveyard, so let's see. Yeah, I mean, that is annoying. Frantic Search, a Terrifying Enabler. My opponent can only keep 1 card, so I wonder why they played the land out first. You could enter a scenario where you get 2 spells you really want, but now you can't because you played your land out, so yeah, I highly suggest just playing your land drop after, right? Okay, so my opponent's discarding Prismatic Ending and an additional land, and then the question is, how good is their last card? How good is the last card? Also, my opponent can go Priest, unearth the Priest into the Overlord of the Flood Pits, so let's see what would happen. Draw 2, discard 1. Okay, I mean, that's not bad. 5/3 flyer. That is a way to, you know, fight for the Monarch. So let's see what my opponent ends up doing here. Also, if my opponent goes for the Priest here, then if they manage to put, you know, a better creature into the graveyard layer, they kind of blew their chance. So tough decision coming up here. So my opponent basically needs to ask themselves, is things getting better from here? Going, you know, Animatu, filtering a little bit. I killed Animatu. Yeah, it's not really going to get them far. Let's see. Okay, so my opponent is not interested in the priest shenanigans now. They think they could spike a good creature. They did not. And now I assume the commander comes down unless my opponent has some kind of removal here. Okay, cool. My opponent had removal, so return Aragorn to the command zone. Yes, that's cool. And here comes the commander. So my opponent ended up having a pretty sweet turn here. Not gonna lie, I will say I'm still the king here, so I'm not super desperate, but very good turn for my opponent. Give of Runes, not excited about that one. Play Giver. Have to play an untapped land for Otawara to be live here, so let's do that. Draw a nice one? Nope. Draw another land. So, yeah, lands and Portable Hole are terrible cards. Let's see. Let's see. Now my opponent, once again, it's very tempting to go Priest back the Overlord. Also, I have to see here. It gains haste. Okay, so let's see if my opponent can do anything cool here. Getting back the 5-3 is something that works. Draw 2, discard 1. My opponent can try and blink it if they want, but I have the Otawara, so I'm really hoping for that. Tivit hits the graveyard. Let's see. Blink it, bro. My opponent's not going to blink. Draw 1, put a card on top, sure. I feel like I should bounce this. Unless there's some ward ability I didn't see. So, discard, bounce. That card would have been gone in case it was still in play. Mountain is atrocious. Let's play out the Aragorn once more. It's really not my favorite play here. Probably attack that one. I don't think I have the luxury to protect my Aragorn, but who knows? So now my opponent can go the 5-3 and then blink it with Animatsu. That's probably very bad for me, but let's see. Probably very bad. My opponent gets to, draw 4, discard 2. Where's my days? Where's days when you need it? Oh, and Burial Rights on that card. Let's see here. When it enters, evidence or bribery. For each evidence vote, my opponent votes twice for bribery. So, so I can either choose to give my opponent an additional treasure, an additional clue. So I'm going to give them a clue here. Pretty cool card. 6/6 Flying Ward 3. Also, on Burial Rights is just... Oh, shoot. I didn't think about that. Now my opponent's really firing on all cylinders. So I guess we do the same. I don't have many answers for that card in my deck. Now my opponent has 4 mana. So what I can do is give my Aragorn protection and kill the Animatsu. It's not really going to help. What will help is bestowing my Detective's Phoenix onto it. But let's see if we even get this far. I'm scared. I'm scared. Okay, so that card is in play. So I assume those impending cards interact favorably with Animatsu, so you kind of get the... It's kind of like the... what is those card called? Prototype cards. Oh, here's balance. Sure. So you remove that counter end of turn. Fair enough. So now... I think I'm drawing too many lands to win this game, but who knows? Now I can go Detective's Phoenix onto Aragorn. Then I can go Protection... Protection, kill the Walker. Pass with Bestow. Exile. 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 Need to do that with 6. I'm keeping the Snare around. I think that card is the most likely to be good later. So now I have a 6/6. Will want to let my opponent chump block. Probably. Let's try that. Mainly because my opponent can just play it once more. So I want to give my opponent the chance. Oh. Let's see how this works. It will cost me 3 mana, I bet. Do I want that? Maybe that's okay. So no blocking. I even forgot about that. Kill Animatsu. Gain a bunch of life. And also, very important that I have a creature on defense that, actually works against my opponent's attacker. Portable Hole on, I don't know, a clue? It's very bad. Maybe that was too bad of a play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's just do it on a Lotus Petal here. Play this land. Draw. Counterspell. That's not a counterspell. That's a White Plume Adventurer. Unclear if that card is useful for me right now. Also, my opponent can just play Animatsu from Manzone here for 5 mana, blink the Overlord, and then I think I'm in trouble. But let's see. This card is super cool. Tivit, the Seller of Secrets. So let's see. That's because of the bribery and the evidence. So yeah, great lore. I love that card. I don't think I'm losing quite yet, but I really need some help. And I don't think a card like White Plume Adventurer is exactly what I wanted. The thing about this Aragorn deck is you don't really, race any deck fast, and you don't really have the best late game either. So it becomes a bit weird where you kind of have to win before things get out of hand, but you're also not really an aggro deck. So pretty interesting stuff. Also worth noting, my opponent still has the Unburial Rites in the graveyard, so losing the Tivit on combat is not necessarily a bad thing. If only I had a counterspell here, I would feel so good about myself. Countering the Animatsu, countering Unburial Rites, pulling away. But right now, the counterspell is only in my opponent's head, it's not in my hand, unfortunately. I'm really enjoying these dual commander games. I really hope this format grows. I know it's huge in paper, but I really hope it grows online. It's one of my favorite ways to play Magic, like 100 card singleton 1v1. I think that's just super cool because there keeps popping up new innovation that leads to new ideas. So let's see. I play against Animatsu, then I see my opponent blinking their stuff, getting more value from those. And I see my opponent putting, Flash, Frantic Search, Tutors, Reanimation, Fatties in the deck. And then all of a sudden, I want to look into if there's enough critical mass to make a deck, or it's too inconsistent, or whatever the case may be. So that's playing a format like this brings Magic, from my point of view, back to like how it was back in school, right? You've never seen the cards before. One of your friends pulled a certain card out of a pack, and then wow, I want to play with that card, or I want to play with cards that are good against that card, and then that's like the innovation on grassroots level. I think that's the best way to explain my excitement. Because when playing Magic at a high level, playing on the PT, testing with the best players in the world, working with data, all of a sudden you get to a place where, oh, yeah, I'm playing a deck that has a, 56% win rate over something that has a 54% win rate, but I enjoy the other deck the more, and like all of that stuff is just the more I can keep Magic as something subjective and keep it away from being chess, if that makes sense, the better. I think if this game becomes like very optimized with a ton of tools at some point, I think it'll lose a lot of the charm. So yeah, let's hope we never see that day. But for now, we get to enjoy some highly subjective Magic here. Which commander do you pick? How do you build your deck? How do you play out your cards? How do you react to what the opponent's doing? And that's why this game is great. It also looks like my opponent has a long decision on their hands here, but that allowed me to speak my mind about another subject. So yeah, I guess keep thinking, opponent, but just don't think for 6 more minutes. Then this will be a bit awkward. So right now, I'm kind of, the Giver is kind of cool. It's holding, oh, excuse me, it's holding the Tivit at bay, maybe. But my opponent can reanimate it, and then in my opponent's mind, they feel like they have to kind of respect the 2-mana counters that I've been throwing at them for a couple of games in a row. Their commander is also a 5-drop. Playing that card out, getting it countered would be disastrous, so I don't know. Maybe my opponent is looking to cast 2 less impactful spells from hand, but at least it's 2 spells and not 1 spell getting countered. So maybe this is the magic of the invisible counterspell that wasn't there. Here's Tainted Pact. I'm going to let my opponent resolve that card. So Tainted Pact is a weird one because sometimes you're looking for a specific card, but most of the time you're looking for a specific category of cards. So while this is a singleton format, it really isn't when it comes to, I have Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Flame Slash in my deck. My opponent has Animate Dead, Dance of the Dead, Necromancy, Reanimate, like stuff like that, So it's like a category of cards. So I guess we should follow along what my opponent's going for here. I don't know what my opponent's going for. That's the thing. Archon Magister, Ashen Rider. Pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know what my opponent's going for. I don't know. Give a runes removal? Let's not fatties, not reanimation. Force Spike, Tomb Fortress, 5 mana animate. That's a pretty cool card. Painted Indulgence, draw 2, then discard a card unless there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard. So 5 or more mana value. So that's like if you have a 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, 5-drop, then it's a draw 2. Otherwise, it's a discard enabler. That sounds about right. Wow, my opponent's really going through a lot of cards here. Intuition is a good synergy or like consistency card for the deck. Wow, yeah, this deck is playing so many creatures that are very bad to draw. So I guess what I would be looking into is, does the color combinations have enough? Tithing Blade. Okay, so my opponent went for Give of Runes removal. So I'll go protection from white, I think, because my opponent has white mana up, and the card Oust exists. So, but I guess my opponent would just have ousted the Giver, and then, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go white here, and then I'm gonna sacrifice the Giver. So my opponent decided to Tainted Pact for removal. Also, this is a card that is awesome with Animatsu. So, let's see. I get to keep the Monarchy. This game will be complicated. My opponent removes a counter. I will Surveil out of an Elegant Parlor or Archive, I guess. Doesn't really matter. Let's see. Mana Tithe. No thanks. I don't like this. This could be very bad for me. So now let's attack. Am I gonna let my opponent block? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, draw 1. I guess I'm not gonna let my opponent block. Get in for 6, gain back 6, very importantly. Now I'm gonna play... Yes, I play this optimally like this. Don't show the info, go for a basic island if the deck has 2. I don't even know if the deck has 2 islands. Let's see. Otherwise, I just play the Sulphur Falls. So now I have the Monarch and the Initiative. I can't play that out because I want to, I want the card Counterspell to be a good draw. So draw, Counterspell. Okay. That could be the needle in the coffin here, because now my opponent can resolve their Walker and start blinking the Tithing Blade. I guess my 3/3 in play will keep that at bay, so not bad. Also, my opponent doesn't have that much time before this starts to get very, very dangerous, and I'm both talking about the life department and I'm talking about the time department, because my opponent needs to kill me in just a few minutes here. So let's see how that plays out. I hope it doesn't come down to time, but I will take the W if it does. So this attack is something I want to block and respect. Then my opponent can reanimate it, try again next turn. Yes, Command Zone. So now, on Burial Rites in my opponent's graveyard, this looks like a juicy play. Still have some creatures in play. The Detective's Phoenix is pretty cool like that. Let's see what this is. This is Necromancy. No counterspell available, so that works. Necromancy getting back Pivot. And now we're voting. I mean, I want to give my opponent clues here. I really don't care about the clues. Seems like it's going to be rough for my opponent to, you know, afford extra mana to crack them. Of course, they go for 2 treasures because of the same logic, basically. So let's see if I can draw a relevant card. I guess I should Lost Well to look for relevant cards. Lost Well. Perfect world is I end up finding a card I can use now and then an instant I can draw into on the end step, but I mean, who knows? Let's see. Ocelot Pride doesn't do anything. So yeah, let's get rid of those 2 cards. Draw. That is a fun draw because let's see, how expensive is this one? This is an 8 drop, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So I can go Hasted Aragorn. Then my opponent will take 5, eat the Aragorn. Is that good for me? Is that good for me? I don't think so. I feel like I should block. But I think I want to play the Aragorn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I feel like I want to, you know, conceal the fact that I can play it with haste next turn. Let's see if that works. So my plan is to play the Aragorn out and not attack, I guess. It's so annoying that card has Ward 3. Let's see. Sure. Don't want any of my creatures eaten. Because I'm also facing a Tithing Blade. Let's draw. Ugh. Not good. Not good. Not strong. My opponent now has 2 minutes on the clock, and I'm more worried about, you know, not dying before the time is over, which is kind of sad. I will say I'm blocking here anyway because of the monarchy and the initiative, so far I haven't made any decisions that didn't have to do with the game strategically, but that could definitely come up. Also, worth noting is I only have 3 mana value of cards in my graveyard right now, which is terrible. Which means that I can't, what do you call it? I can't bestow from the graveyard because I can't collect the evidence. Here's Animatsu. If my opponent blinks the Tithing Blade, I can... They don't, sure. So that makes sense. So here comes Tivit once more. Necromancy only tells you to sacrifice the old one. It kind of forgot that kind of text, so now it's in play for, like, permanently. I'm going to give my opponent another clue to their collection. My opponent has 4 treasures here, which is enough to go in burial rights, but there's no creature in the graveyard, which is kind of funny. And now my opponent will get that creature. Okay, now things can start to heat up a little bit. I will say that. So now, Lost Will. This is so funny. There are exits to the southwest and southeast. It's so funny. I am not gonna go to anything. I'm gonna grab myself a treasure. Can we draw something that is not a land? That would be pretty awesome. Let's see. No more lies. What happens if I attack with White Plume? It dies. Then I can go for the Phoenix. Is that strong? I don't think it is. I can only... Let's just check this out. Hey, Red. And then I need to collect evidence. Yeah, so that doesn't work. Okay. So the Aganjo is kind of cool. It has the Overlord handled. I am gonna lose the initiative here. Okay, this is tough. We need a good card off the top of our deck here. Wait. I keep forgetting the text on this one. So when it attacks up to one target... Wait a minute. If you're the Monarch, creatures can't block this turn. I totally missed that. Wow. So have to read it once more. If you're the Monarch, creatures can't block this turn. Okay. Well, I guess I got tricked by this card, and that's kind of funny, looking at how the game ended up. I guess I just would have won the game if I realized this, but it's also kind of funny. It is also kind of funny. So I guess my opponent's at 3, and I draw a counterspell, something? Solitude, that is amazing. That's one of the best draws I've ever seen. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pay ward. I think I just do that. This game was awesome. This game was simply awesome. So, kill that card. A3. 1, 2, 3. Yes, please. My opponent gains life. Pass. Untap my creature. And then I still have 2 mana for the Aganjo to deal 4 to the Overlord. And my opponent's struggling on time here. I don't think my opponent can do it within the time, unfortunately. Also worth noting is the Aganjo's 2 mana to activate here, so I'll just go like this. Deal 4. 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. So discard, deal 4. Okay. There we go. So killing that card, my opponent has no attacker that's threatening the initiative, nor the Monarch. So I think this is where we clinch the game, and thankfully, I feel like we're winning on both axes here. But maybe my opponent could have come back here with more time. Who knows? That was a marathon of a match, and it was so funny that when I did the deck tech, I was like, "Oh yeah, so Aragorn kind of snowballs when you're already the Monarch, and when you're not the Monarch, it helps you get it back as well." And here, I paid 3 mana into that pivot multiple times. It was so funny. Every time I play this format, there's something like, "Wow, I can't believe I didn't think about that." So let's see if we can keep it up. This is a very grindy format, so yeah, let's go. All right, round 2, and look at this. This is cool. My opponent is playing Niv Mizzet, so 5-color deck with Giganta as a companion. My mind is blown here. We're mulliganing a 1-lander, not much to say about that, and we're keeping this, bottoming our worst land, which is probably going to be the Plains. I feel like against 5 colors, my life total is less likely to matter, so I prioritize good flexibility when it comes to casting my spells. I also don't expect them to be any, Blood Moon Harbinger, etc. So, let's see. Let's see if this Lightning Bolt is any good. In theory, 5-color deck could be anything, right? But I assume it's a lot of multicolor cards with Niv Mizzet, so I need to answer that Niv Mizzet. I feel like that's just going to go over the top of my Aragorn. And then the logic is, I don't think my opponent can just run all, blue counter spells. My opponent will really focus on multicolor cards, so let's see if that is true. Think into Stupor. I think the correct land to play here is Polluted Delta. If something happens, I can bolt. If something doesn't happen, I can go for Surveil, red, blue, probably. This could be a grind as well, just like the last game. that was really a grind. Tracking for Thundering Falls. What do we have here? Mana Tithe. I love that card. It is a card that either forces me to maybe fetch planes. Is that acceptable? Or shocking myself? What's better? I actually played this out mainly because I think if I shock myself, chances are I'm getting my opponent to play into this. Mana Tithe becomes smaller, but who knows? It could be flawed logic, and I was just supposed to take the damage there. Dream is to Mana Tithe an impactful 3-drop, and then play either Fable or Teferi, depending on how I feel, and what I draw, and kind of what I'm deducing from my opponent's deck. I will say it doesn't look very blue-heavy so far when you play a Triome, and then you actively fetch for something that isn't blue either, but maybe the island just comes here, and that's why. All right, basic island is the fetch target from Prismatic Vista. Let's see if the Mana Tithe is good. Mana Tithe is not good. The opponent puts Gigant in hand, which is fine. So now I think it's my time. So funnily enough, I draw the plane. So I guess fetch. Really don't want to fetch Mountain. I think that's just very bad. So let's go Island here. Then let's play the planes out. And now I feel like I should get going with Fable. My opponent has a 5-drop companion in hand and a 5-drop commander in the command zone, so I feel like this is exactly my turn to hopefully. Okay, sure. Pernicious Deed, that's a cool one. So I wonder if the Pernicious Deed simply just kills off the Goblin Shaman. Let's see. Yes, I want to discard the Bolt. And then oh, I have to read this. Okay, I have to read this. So enters tapped, blue-white. Creates a map when it attacks. So tap land, I'm not too crazy about. So let's get rid of those. Draw into Murktide Regent. Murktide is an awesome draw here. So let's see. Let's see if my opponent allows the attack. Daze is also an incredible draw. So I feel like with the treasure I just got here, I should play a 4/4 Murktide. Does that work? I think it does. So let's see if I shock here. 1, 2, 3. Murktide out of the yard here. I think that's fine. It's very hard to deed away a Murktide region, so I really like that play. Now I have Heartcast, Mana Tithe up, Heartcast Daze if my opponent does not deed me, and it's, you know, it's about time for my opponent to play a 5-drop. That would be very tempting, otherwise they keep falling behind here. So I'm trying to put my opponent between a rock and a hard place. I don't know. I didn't even consider playing my commander, so this just goes to show that how much of a, you know, yeah, and I even have 6 tier. Oh, okay. A little bit of a failure here, but okay. Let's see if we can do better in the future. My Murktide getting plowed there was something I could have Mana Tithed. That would have been very, very strong. But let's see if we can recover from this while I was... It was funny, I just noted that I probably should have played the Aragorn out instead of Murktide. Then my opponent fetched, and I F6 because I thought they were going to go for another Surveil, but yeah, that's just how it goes. Giganta here is something I'm going to Mana Tithe any day of the week. Very, very good exchange for me. Now the Daze is looking questionable unless my opponent misses their next land drop, but let's see about that. Draw, Mental Misstep. Who knows if that is good. So now play Aragorn, become the Monarch. Then I can play this one and I think oh, it's not a cast. Play, take the damage. Attack for 2. So what I could do now is play Teferi. That's actually not bad. Okay, let's play Teferi here. Teferi bounce the Deed. Basically just tempo my opponent here. I draw a card from the Monarchy. I have a daze if my opponent goes no land, cast Niv Mizzet. And it looks like it's the case. Maybe I shouldn't count my chickens in yet. My opponent could still regret it and play a land. Niv Mizzet would be quite cool here. If I get to Days Niv Mizzet here, I feel like the game is over. Wow, yeah, this is incredible for me. So now I have to think. No, it's just an easy misstep. I was trying to think if there was any merit to letting that resolve. But the dream is my opponent actually still has a land. That's the dream. But I guess this is just Pernicious Deed go. Okay, so my opponent with no land drop, which makes me hopeful for the days to ice the game still. Let's activate. We can play a tap land, and I think this... No, let's just attack with everything. I don't want my opponent to deed for 0 and prevent some damage here. So I feel like just getting in for 8 is good. Put my opponent to 4. Yes. Yeah, my opponent was just super clunky this game. As I draw a nice Ocelot Pride here. My opponent didn't really... Like, the plow was fine because I was sleeping at the wheel. The deed was incredibly slow. So now, sure, my opponent can wipe my creatures. It looks like we are getting deeded, which is fine. Let's put Aragorn back to the command zone. What is my opponent going to do here? Nothing. So the cool thing is I'm the Monarch. So every turn that passes is going to be favorable for me. Feely has a good card. Now let's just go Pride. Let's pass, draw. My opponent will also know something is up since I don't replay my Aragorn here. That's not a good sign for my opponent. Teferi can now bounce one thing, which is going to be useful. Looks like my opponent found another play than Niv Mizzet. Let's see what that is. Or, I guess, just tapping their mana. So Hardcast Days should do it. We should be heading to game 2 shortly. All right. We were able to recover from the terrible F6 incident. Let's see if we can take down the 5-color monstrosity. Up a game on the draw against the Niv Mizzet and Giganta deck. That's super cool that you can even... that even exists. So, pretty easy keep here. I don't think I'm misstepping that much out of that deck, but again, my opponent did show Plow, so maybe there is a few more cards. Stern Scolding doesn't look like that is very good either. But this is fine. I'll play a turn 1 Mother of Runes and take it from there. I can play Verge turn 1. It's always good to, you know, when there's new cards around, like, which color is it this making on default, right? So it's a good, because I have Steam Vents, it's going to be a decent lane drop turn 1. Mother of Runes is just good against, you know, removal spells, any combat situations. But then again, a Niv Mizzet deck can probably go over the top at some point, so it's not amazing or anything. I think it's just a fine card. But it's not amazing against this deck. Let's see. What is this? Oh, a Johnny. That's a good one. So, a Johnny is something that I'm highly motivated to kill. And I think I'll just do it right away. Oh, even draw Portable Hold. Is that better? Technically it is, but I'm actually still gonna crush it here. I think this is a better play, because use my mana better. So we can just pass the turn here. Now I have to think about if I want to block and give protection or take 2 damage. Feel like I'm blocking here. Realize my creature can die to something like, I don't know, Lightning Helix or whatever. I guess not Lightning Helix in this specific situation. Let's see. Oh, Arwen. I love that card. That's a good one. So now my opponent can't attack. Pretty reasonable. So now I can choose between some interaction. Pretty juicy Mana Tithe. But I think I want that Mana Tithe for Niv Miss It. So let's play the Crusher out. Arwen is an annoying card. It can make combat complicated, even though I have a Mother of Runes. So let's see. Still hoping to misstep something. And I can portable hold the cat at some point. Here's Dranith Magistrate, which is an annoying card that I have to murder with my portable hole. My opponent does not attack, so we have kind of reached a standstill here. Draw land, which is not bad. So let's portable hold the Magistrate. It is exiled, so indestructible from Arwen does not work. Let's do that. Then I guess I play a tap land. And I pass the turn. I'm trying to find a good window here. Ideally, my opponent misses their 6th land drop, so I can go something like Aragorn, hold up Mana Tithe, counter the Niv, miss it, and spiral some advantage, but who knows? My opponent goes for a Triome. Now my opponent also has black mana. Perfect world. I Mana Tithe and Niv, miss it now, and JM Aragorn. I guess we're not living in that perfect world. Something else is going to happen. Omnath. Yeah, I'm also going to Mana Tithe that one. That's just too strong of a card. I will say, unfortunately, my opponent could still have land in hand because Omnath incentivizes you to slow roll your land, and there it is. So, still no attacks here. Can we draw an answer? We don't. Land. I don't think waiting around is going to be better, so I'm going to play my Aragorn here. And then my opponent is most likely going to play the Niv Miss It, and then we have some kind of game. Let's see what we can draw here. Force of Will, one time. Flage, okay. Flage is not a bad card. That is a card that can grind with the best of them. So I'm now the Monarch. But my opponent's probably going to draw like 3 or 4 cards here off Niv Miss It. Reflecting Pool makes the Mana Tithe bad, so no regrets about that one. I think Omnath would just be too strong of a card to have in play, rewarding my opponent for every land they draw. And then, of course, spells are good. So let's see. I wonder if we can get our opponent to play into that mental misstep, but maybe not. Let's see. So Nadu, Baleful Strix, Abrupt Decay, Normalize, right? Nadu, Abrupt Decay, Normalize, Baleful Strix. Those are some heavy hitters. No doubt about that. Really some heavy hitters. So let's see if we can find one more Surveil land, just like in the previous matches, previous games. Thundering Falls it is. Let's find something impactful that maybe exiles the Niv Miss It. Okay, Subtlety is a good card. I will say the 6/6 is making me a bit scared. Let's draw. Subtlety is a good one. So now I'm the Monarch, so my opponent cannot block, right? That's how it works. If you're the Monarch, creatures can block this turn. Okay, so I am the Monarch. I can't... I have to admit I am the Monarch. Okay, so I guess I just attack with Aragorn. Yeah, let's attack with Aragorn. So Still have to target. Get in for 4. Bit of attack with Crusher to try and race, but I don't know about that. Yeah, there's a lifelink counter. It's so annoying. So now 1, 2, 3, 4 for a subtlety. I think it's fine to not play a land. Draw. What can it be? Plow. Counterspell is a very, very nice card. Worth noting is if I played out my lane, I still couldn't hardcast both, so I didn't get punished. Oh crap. That's a flyer. Forgot about that. Except my opponent's now the Monarch. No lifelink. My opponent has a full grip. Very, very many cards. Even a No More Lies. Abrupt Decay is not the best right now. Baleful Strix, I can Stern Scolding. Yeah, I'm just trying to trade some cards, try and get back the Monarchy. See if that works. So here's Baleful Strix. I will Scold that card. I'm hoping my opponent goes Nadu without playing a land drop. So No More Lies is out of the picture. Let's see. Let's see how this develops. The good thing is, if we're trading Monarchy, I'm winning the damage race because of lifelink from Aragorn. That is something to think about. Arwen makes it complicated because of the indestructible counter. No More Lies makes it complicated because I can't, resolve whatever I want. My opponent's passing the turn here. Am I supposed to be happy with my locking down my opponent's mana, or am I supposed to getting that No More Lies out of the picture? I think I'm leaning towards getting No More Lies out of the picture. So I'll play the subtlety out and most likely get it countered. And then I think on if that ends up happening, then I'm going to attack with Aragorn, make it so that the Arwen can't block because it's indestructible. Then I hope my opponent will. Okay, so my opponent is kind of okay. Well, plans changed a little bit here. My opponent's drawing a card end of turn. My opponent's up to 7 cards. This is a mouthful. I'm not the Monarch, so features can block. Pippin the draw. I will say right now, I can pay for Counterspell, which is huge. So let's attack with these. Make that one unable to block. I assume my opponent will make the cat indestructible. Who knows? Isn't that how it works? Yeah. I think taking 7 here is a bit too much for the opponent, but who knows? And now I have the choice to kill... Oh, Cosmic Rebirth. Pretty cool combat trick. So what I'm going to do here is... probably... Let's see. Will my opponent block... Am I supposed to give, proactive protection here? If I give my subtlety protection from black... Is that even good? Maybe I have to. This game is super hard. Yeah, I really want the Monarch here. Cosmic Rebirth. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome situation. So... Now I can choose to go and actually think that's what I'm gonna do. Kill that one. Now my opponent can give it indestructible. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here, if this is even good. I kind of lost track of this game. That's sad. Okay, so Aragorn down. I do become the Monarch. Back to the command zone it goes. This is a great game. I mean, this format is so hard to play. For me, at least. So now I can choose to go kill Arwen. That's probably good. Because my counterspell versus Nadu does not work because of Normalize, so... Okay. Draw an extra card. Orthialingus is an interesting one. Could come in handy later. Yeah, what a sweet format. So deep in complicated situations where, I mean, you need to have played this a lot, I would imagine, to steer these matches correctly. It's just every time I play, I oversee something. Every time I play, my opponents miss something. So much to keep track of. But yeah, really awesome. So, with me being the Monarch, but my opponent taking it back for sure. Let's see. Killing, yeah, that's a great play. Prismari Command getting rid of Mother Runes and Portable Hole, which brings back Dranith Magistrate to the battlefield. And now my opponent can sit back on the counter magic and let the game come to them. But it looks like that's not what they want to do. Okay. So Nadu enters the fray. I can attack for 6 here. My opponent's now the Monarch. Table of the Mirror Breaker is not a card that can get me back into this game, so I'm losing heavily on board. I can't do much. I'm actually just going to call it in here and go for game 3. All right, let's see if we can do it here. It's basically just proved my theory that if the game gets too long, the Jeskai deck is not able to hang, but we are more efficient in the early game, so we want to try and take advantage of that. So let's see if we can do that for game 3. This hand is a keep. I have some good interaction leading up to the inevitable Aragorn getting cast. So here on turn 1, I'm going to go Archive, then I'm going to go Seachrome Coast. Okay, I actually like this. Just, you know, playing a creature out turn 2 if my opponent does not have a play. I think that's just cool. Let's see if I get punished, because I do not have land number 4 as we speak. Play Seachrome Coast. You don't want to end up in a bad situation where that is a tap land later on, so just get it into play. Especially when I, you know, have stuff to do with my mana. My opponent goes for a Triumph. Let's see what this is. Idhello Sculler is not a card I'm super afraid of. Let's see. What's the Sculler gonna pick? I feel like it's fine. Just let our opponent pick whatever here. Maybe I should have played the dog, actually. Probably should have played the dog out. There's no reason to give my opponent that option. Even though I have good ways to kill it, but I don't think not playing that card out was smart. So now I'm gonna Aberration that one, get it back. But yeah, would have been better to have it in play. Let's see if we can draw the land here. We draw the land, which is good. So now I can go Volcanic Island, Aberration, kill the Sculler. What I could have done was charge it and hold up Normalize, but I actually feel like this Normalize is going to be more important later, with it being my only counter. Now my plan changes a little bit from casting Aragorn turn 4 to casting, you know, holding up counter, playing Philia. think that's how I want to approach this game. The annoying thing about this Skyclave is my opponent can get, the 2/2 back, which is not nothing in a game that could come down to, the monarchy, the initiative, and stuff like that. Let's see. Let's see. So, yeah, there's always this dark cloud looming that if the game goes into, like, let's say, turn 10, I'm not going to be favored. So I'm going to try and take a little bit more of a tempo approach. I think I can also say now that this is going to be the last match of the video. I feel like 2 grueling, grindy matchups is going to be just enough. I don't want to overdo it here. I hope you guys can appreciate that as well. Here's Prismatic Vista. That is an actual 5-color land in the deck. That's pretty cool. Here's Basic Forest. So now my opponent has all 5 colors. What can you do with all 5 colors? I wonder if there's any cool way to power out the Niv Mizzet ahead of schedule. Like, I remember there was some 5-color ritual back in the day. I wonder if that deck plays that card. It's like, maybe it's like green and 3 colorless at 1 of each. It was in, I don't know, I feel like it was around like Kamigawa or something. Okay, here's Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Very acceptable. Draw. So now I could consider going for the Aragorn. Here's a White Plume Adventure. Kind of the same logic. Okay, I think I actually like White Plume Adventure quite a bit here. So yeah, okay. Fetch, Plateau, I guess, maybe Tundra. Plateau is probably fine. Then I'm gonna go. Charge or ending? I feel like charge is less flexible overall, but the instant speed could be kind of sweet. I don't know. Let's try. Let's charge that card. Doom. Play White Plume. So I get an engine going, but it could also kill my opponent's 2/2, which is their way to get back the engine. So this was kind of a good hedge, I feel like. I'll just go for Island, attack for 2. It will untap on my opponent's upkeep anyway. So let's see if I can steer the initiative into a win here. The logic is I'm doing this a turn before my opponent could, gets dangerous with the 5 drops. So I'm kind of putting pressure on my opponent to find a great play now, because next turn I'm going to have Mana Leak available. Molten Collapse, not anything my opponent is interested in. Same with Planar Genesis. It's basically time my opponent does not have. So now I'm trying to fade, big cards like Omnath. Bloodbraid Elf is awesome. I guess they don't play counterspells then if they play Bloodbraid Elf. Let's see. Let's just see what the surprise is here. I see the word elf in the chat, but maybe that was one of the milled cards. Wow. Kaya's Guile. I sacrifice a creature. My opponent gets a 1/1 flyer. I feel like I should sacrifice this one, even though it hurts a bit. My opponent gets a 2/2 if I do this. But that 2/2 is something I can block. Maybe it doesn't matter because my opponent's attacking with Bloodbraid Elf. Okay, Bloodbraid into removal into a creature as well. Okay. This is gonna get complicated. So now I'm forging, or the other one, right? Lost Well. Mental Misstep. Generally not a bad card. But I think now I have to do better. So if I draw the Reprieve, I go... Yeah, I think Reprieve is a good one here. Because now I go land, 1 mana, kill the flyer. And then I have Philia with reprieve or normalize backup for the 2/2 to hang on to the Monarch, and hopefully I can draw land and play Aragorn with counter backup as well. That's me dreaming, of course. What can you do, opponent? What can you do? You can attack. We knew that. What can I do? I can flash in Ophelia. My opponent also knew about that one. No interaction here for me, which is good. My opponent knows about the normalize, which is a huge disadvantage for me right now because I want my opponent to play stuff. So now, really want to draw land. I can't stress that enough. Oh, I get a stash. Okay. So I'm actually kind of home safe here. Let's see. Here's Grist. So now the question becomes, which counter do I play on the Grist? I feel like that card is just something I want to have gone for good. Let's see if this works. I hope my opponent doesn't have a good spell here. My opponent deploys like some threat or something, I'm in deep trouble. My opponent passes the turn here, I'm in good shape. Don't do it, opponent. No, untapped land. We don't love to see that. Yeah, that's exactly what I don't want to see. A good threat to the board. I feel like I did a good job here. Stash. Now I can play. Yeah, the land is not clutch here. I'll put it that way. Let's play Aragorn. Now, worth noting is my opponent can start copying a Johnny if they want to. Let's draw not a land. Okay, a land was drawn. Now I'm in trouble. The good thing is I can eat a creature. The bad news is that creature is making more creatures. So the flipped reflection plus a Johnny, I think is too much here. What's it going to be, opponent? How are you going to put me down? My opponent's going to put me down by casting a Moloch. Yeah, this is not good for me. So now my chances to not draw those lands. Come on now. I wanted to draw like removal here. Let's see. So if I block that, my opponent flips the Ajani, and then deal 2 damage to my Aragorn and finish it off. Is that better or worse than simply giving my opponent the Monarch? No idea. Let's trade some resources here. I keep the Monarch. I get a skeleton. Oh, yeah, okay, so I have initiative and Monarch. Yeah, I think this is fine. And now I think it's time for me to draw something strong. Oh, wow. Wait a minute. What if my opponent made a 2/1 here? I feel like they could have killed off the Aragorn, right? Ooh. I think that's... I was not supposed to get this lifeline. More lands. That kind of sucks. So I can put the Ajani to 1 here, which I should. Put the Ajani to 1. So attack Ajani. That guy can't block. Ajani's now at 1. I guess. Which kind of surveils do I have available? I think I have all of them, so I think what I want to do is fetch a surveil here before drawing the card from Monarch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I mean, keep that card. Forthia Lingus is a card that can do some nasty things. Let's see if this big fourth Eolingus is finishing the job here. What's gonna happen here? Chaos Defiler. Great card, especially when you can copy it. Yeah, I mean, go nuts. Chaos Defiler killing Aragorn, returning over there. Then you can copy Chaos Defiler, killing the skeleton. And then my opponent kills the treasure on the way out. So all of a sudden, I'm not winning the game next turn. Oh, crap. This got complicated now. Yes, you got everything you want here. But I'm getting to the throne. That is pretty good, probably. My opponent's at 16. Oh, sorry, I'm at 16, so I have to worry about not dying. My opponent can copy Chaos Defiler. Parallax Wave. Is that, like, one of the best cards I could possibly draw here? Very possible, right? So now I go Parallax Wave, make 2 tokens. Let's see how this works. Make 2 tokens. Get rid of that. Get rid of that one. Attack for 4. Maybe just actually kill a Johnny and attack for 2. That's way better. Johnny's had 1 loyalty. Okay, so now I go to Throne. Hopefully I hit a creature here. Oh my god, this game was insane. Okay, look at top 10. Here's... I already played my land, so I guess I'll take a 3/1 flyer. Not impressive. Could have taken Snapcaster because it's a blocker, but who knows if it's better. Monarch. Pass. Draw. Brainstorm. This game is absurd. What an absurd game. What an absurd game. So now we're going to see Niv Mizzet trying to get back into the game with a... No, we're not. We're going to see a card I have to read. Enter with 5 oil counters on it. Remove an oil counter. It gets Vigilance. Remove 2. It gets plus. And then you can kill Parallax Wave off. So pretty sad about that one. I guess I wave the reflection goodbye here. Okay, so the game that keeps on giving. So let's see. Destroy target enchantment. Do I have any interest in blinking any stuff? I don't. Remove. Oh, yeah, no reason to reset those oil counters. So wave is gone. My opponent gets to... Oh, crap. That thing even makes a 2/2. So now my flyer... No, I have hexproof. Okay, so a 2/2 is dead. Oh my god, what a game. What a game, what a game! Magic the Gathering is insanely fun. Here's a mountain. Wait a minute. How did... Oh, this doesn't target. This gets around hexproof. That's so good. Okay, so initiative, I'm back to where I started. I can search a basic, so nothing to write home about. Teferi is an amazing draw. Let's see, how expensive is this one? This is a 6-drop. How do I either win the game or stall for 4 more minutes? No, I didn't say that out loud. That's forbidden. Feel like I should brainstorm. This could turn into, like, finding 2 awesome spells, potentially. What does this do for 1 mana? Vigilance and Menace until end of turn. Okay, so that's not really relevant. Okay, let's fire off a brainstorm. These are not great cards. Tithe. Tithe and Hallowed Fountain goes away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I can go Aragorn, or I can go to Fairy. What if I Teferi the... I don't even know what to Teferi. Teferi the token? I don't even know if that's strong. This card, like Menace and all sorts of stuff. If I bounce the Chaos Defiler, my opponent can just replay it, and that's not good at all. Maybe I just play my commander out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know. This game is just something value. Oh crap! Okay, I did too much talking here. I totally forgot that my top 2 cards of the deck were terrible, so now I just double time blocked myself. I was supposed to play a fetch land there, fetch out, whatever. Tundra, doesn't matter. Point is, I was supposed to shuffle that deck and not draw the bricks. Ugh, that's so punishing. Looks like a Moloch beating that I also knew about. So yeah, tons of stuff to miss here, and yeah, I think I'm gonna... The punishment is here for sure. Miscalculation when I knew about my opponent's card, terrible. Not shuffling my deck when I put it back, 2 terrible cards, atrocious. So really, really bad situation that I'm putting myself in here. And how do I bounce back from it? How do I bounce back from it? Is it even possible? I don't think so, but I mean, let's play it out, I guess. So remove 2, so this can grow. So I should have miscalculated my opponent's spell to steal mana. Oh, shoot. All right. Too much stuff going on here for the you know, between the camera and the tough situations. But that's okay. I hope you guys are enjoying the ride here with all the misses. I definitely had some oversights here. My opponent getting the Monarch and the Initiative here. So now I will cycle my miscalculation in Shame. And I will draw the Tithe and Shame as well. And now what? What can we do? Tidebinder. That's actually not a bad card right now. So now I can go, let's see, to Fairy the Moloch. I can attack with 2 creatures. My opponent takes 4. Am I supposed to flash a creature in here to grow it? Maybe that's fine. So I can do like this, Mastermind, because then I can put the 2 counters on Mastermind. It's not nothing, right? Forge onto the Mastermind. So now... Guess I play this if I spike a 2-mana counter off the top. Let's see. 2-mana counter! Gets Action Probe. So I'm basically looking to use Tidebinder to counter the Moloch ETB. Not perfect. Let's see if my opponent goes for Moloch or Niv Mizzet. Both... Oh, Minsk and Boo. Okay, kind of same thing, I guess. So Minsk and Boo has a trigger. And I will Tidebinder that trigger. And now Minsk and Boo is a bad permanent. That does nothing. So let's see. What can my opponent do here? 4 mana available, 5 mana after attacking with the Shaman. That's the important one, unfortunately. Here's the Moloch that I completely forgot about in the meantime, which is so funny. I keep forgetting about the Moloch, even though it's crushing me big time here. So, yes, that works. My opponent's at 8 life. Do I play anything that can... Oh, I guess my opponent just has lethal here, so I have to block. Yes. So how much damage is this? 7 plus... Yeah, that's so close. So I will block over here. And I will survive at 2 life, fetch down to 1 life. My opponent's trapping me dead here. Oh, okay, sick. Okay, fair enough. GG, great match. That was incredible. Went all the way down to time, getting trapped out of the game here. I'm sure I could have played better. It's tough to pinpoint where, but yeah, that was cool. The opponent kept having, relevant stuff, and when I tried to get them with my soft counters, they had, better stuff to do, and the Moloch I missed a couple of times. That was not impressive. Wave was awesome, but my opponent found an answer to the wave, and then we were kind of back where we started. But yeah, I mean, 1 game of me getting under the Niv Mizzet deck, and 2 games of me getting, dominated in the late game by the Niv Mizzet deck. So I guess that's just how the matchup goes. Yeah, that brings me to the end of this video. I highly enjoy playing this format. I'm making mistakes every time I play it, but I'm also growing a little bit stronger every time, and I hope you guys appreciate the content as well. Yeah, I mean, thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you back on the channel soon. Bye, guys.